Hello everybody, welcome to Roundtable Special Series Railway Trippin Tibetan Style, and I am Xigaze. Today's show is packed with amazing content and with people as well, so let's get right to it. You've met Weiming and Huangshan on our show before, and also today we've got Fei Fei, who's our reporter, and welcome back.
Okay.
And long time no see, Niu Niu.
Long time no see.
Yeah, so it's great to have everybody here and in Tibet, and we're now currently in the second biggest city in Tibet autonomous region called Xigaze, or you guys say it Xigaze.
Xigaze
for me. Yes, and so we are currently at 4,300 meters above sea level, and we took the train here from Lhasa, which is 3,650, I believe. And you might have thought that, oh, Xigaze, you've been doing this for a little while. Shouldn't you have already gotten acclimatized and everything? Well, may I just say, I'm probably the last to finish this race of getting through this because you guys look okay. How do you guys feel so far?
Well, my head is a little dizzy, to be frank, because of the altitude we're at right now is a little higher than Lhasa and a lot higher than Ningqi.
Yeah.
So yeah, there definitely will be some kind of a strange feeling to it.
Okay.
A little bit, and I feel a little bit nauseous, partly because I ate too much this noon, partly because of the high altitude, and I don't blame myself, certainly don't blame you, because if you guys do not know this, actually a commercial line would be flying around 6,000 meters above sea level, and now we are over 4,000 meters above sea level. So some of you are flying over there, and we're in a same altitude. So totally natural that we're feeling a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, we have been living on this ground for quite some time, so it's different from taking a plane, which is only like a few hours or so. Yeah. What about you, Lai Mei?
I feel like having adapted to the high altitude while we were in Lhasa, but this time around, I feel a little dizzy. Sure. I feel a little dizzy, and then I feel I might run out of breath if I keep talking, if I keep walking. So, and yes, it does get to me.
Well, it's good to know that I'm not the only one. And Huangshan, gotta check with you, girl.
Yeah, I think I share some similarities with you. And yesterday, I could feel like I'm arriving at a place that is like at a higher altitude. Along the journey, probably because we just transfer from city to city and with the different elevations, I just feel like the altitude sickness is always there. It just happened to be like sometimes you can feel it, sometimes it's just not as strong. You cannot feel it. I remember yesterday when we arrived at a hotel, I just bent down to tie my shoelace, and when I stand up, wow, I felt the short of breath and a dizziness in my head. And today I kind of feel much better, but you can still, it's a little bit different from staying at a place that is with lower altitude. Amazing sceneries of Tibet to our dealers. You're not.
Like last night, as we arrived in the city, it's actually, even for Tibetans, this is like super high.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt like this person was sitting on my chest. No person. So it was this heavy weight that was on my chest, and then I realized I got a cold, and that's why I sound a little froggy, and I apologize. We also need to introduce to everybody that we are in, again, every show that we do in Tibet is basically, we have brand new and unique and beautiful background. So we're in Wurdo, this restaurant, and it means like herdsman's kitchen or something along those lines,
Yes.
right? Tell us a bit more about that one.
So in Tibetan language, this place, Wurdo kitchen, and a Wurdo like a family kitchen. Actually, this is a translation in the Tibetan language. And what is Wurdo referred to is actually in the traditional lifestyle, and people here, the locals, they will use, especially for the herdsmen, they use a whip to graze their cattle or animals, and usually they will attach a piece of stone at the tip of their whip and then make the sound, and it sounds like Wurdo. And we can tell this place, this family kitchen, locates in the heart of Xigaze city. And if you just walk to the second floor upstairs, actually basically where we are, it also hosts a small museum. Basically, you can see the traditional ornaments, tools, and also artifacts are just on display in this small area, together with the restaurant owner's personal collections.
The personal collection is always something for you to see and appreciate, and isn't it just nice when after food or before when you're waiting, and then there's something very special for you to get a taste at, and that's what you would get here. And also bear in mind, because we're in a restaurant and it's summertime, so the windows are open. Oh, such beautiful, is it rhododendrons or I don't know, beautiful bright color flowers out there, and of course you might be able to hear a little bit of the natural ambience of the cars going by,
trucks passing by,
blasting music. That's a fixture for summertime in my opinion. Get your hood down and blast your no, don't do that. And what else? Yeah, so don't be surprised, because Roundtable goes on a trip, and then we want to bring you the real and rawness of everything, so I hope you like it. Taking in new knowledge and information. Space. Yeah, right? So I'm going to ask you guys this question. Traditionally in Tibet, people they eat quite a lot of meat. I think that's their diet, because it's difficult to get vegetables. Now, how do Tibetan people get their vegetables and leafy greens and fruits?
As you can see in front of our tables, there are a lot of very delicious fruits. I'm telling you this because I've tried each and every one of them, and I'm really containing myself here, not reaching for another one. I think the melon is my favorite. The melon's my favorite. And actually, when we were visiting the vegetable base, they told us that previously, decades ago, for Tibetan people, they would cook one leafy dish every 5 days.
Is that because of scarcity?
Yes. So it's considered a luxurious dish on their dinner table for common people, of course. And later, because of the development of society, they started to have one leafy dish a day. And then they move on to have one or several bigger plates of leafy dish, so they can have a little bit left over for the supper. And now they basically eat vegetables and fruits on, as much as they want, but there is also a little bit difference, because the first stage would be they go out of the region to import some vegetables from other areas. And then they move on to being able to grow their own vegetables, which is quite a miracle on this high altitude.
Yeah, it is. And also, I think people's notion is also changing, because I've been talking with a couple of local residents here, and maybe 2-3 decades ago, when people speaking about eating vegetables, they were referred to as eating grass.
Animals.
Wow. Yeah, when people in Xigaze saw people in Lhasa eating vegetables, they look weird, ew, they're eating grass. But they didn't realize the nutrition in the vegetables. So over the period of several decades, they now realize the importance of having vegetables in your diet.
Yeah, and if you eat too much meat, cardiovascular diseases come to find you, and apparently in Tibet, even till today, those kind of diseases and health conditions still remains one of the top public health issues. So, how do you grapple with that? Because people's traditional diet is one thing, but now, with the development of science, with, having these, there you go, a tractor or something like that outside. And nowadays with the train, with the highway, and also having a vegetable base right here at home, then it just gives variety to people's choices when it comes to veggies and fruit. And this is not just in Tibet, but I think everywhere in China nowadays, with the improvement of livelihoods of people, you want to have nice fruits like this, right?
Yes.
It's just great to see it here in Tibet, like me.
Yes, it's a stronger indicator than when you see a place to grow vegetables. It's a stronger indicator than it is.
Vegetables in Tibet, and I corrected him because it's not years ago. Actually, the buildings are strong so that they can withstand
The sunlight and from
place that you just mentioned, Nyo-Nyo. Like I've actually read some articles about this is happening all around Europe and in the U.S. as well because, well, urban people, they want fresh vegetables and they want it fast. So I mean, we're spoiled as the human race with technological advancement always allowing it happening for us, right? So, for example, in, let's say, let's say in a vertical farm, when you close the blinds a little bit, right? And let the plant rest a bit. And so it's just fascinating, all the research and R&D that goes into these, now when you look at it, they're not miracles anymore. They're amazing projects that have been enabled by human beings. But
it is just something we have to work on. I mean, you were saying that maybe a vertical farming company outside of New York is doing this and making sure that people living in
popular campaign reduce definitely your carbon footprint, and also you can encourage local farmers to stick to their strength and their forte and trying to produce more fresh ingredients to serve the local people. And this is the best way to get the freshest and the produce and from in your daily life, and also it's the best way to develop the peeler industry in your neighborhood. And we know now Xigaze is very famous for its agriculture. So I think this is a very good way to, help people to get into the urbanization process. You need to find what is your peeler industry. Definitely, probably with the help of other cities who are just have the strengths in this particular industry. And I think Nyo-Nyo has more to say.
Yes, I want to say something about it because actually vegetable growing is one of the 4 major pillar industries here in Xigaze. And when it comes to technology, yes, in the greenhouse we saw automatic control about irrigation, and we see the control of temperature, and yes, it's reliable, it's advanced, but it actually didn't happen overnight. We asked the people who are coming here and trying to help local people to grow vegetables, and the way they do it is really not smart because for each and every different kinds of vegetable and fruit, they actually need to have them tried and tested for sometimes a year, sometimes even longer than that. And they have successfully introduced 78 different kinds of vegetables and fruits. And that is the tremendous effort we make. And it's because of the high altitude. For example, this tiny little detail, this man I interviewed this morning said, for example, for these little tomatoes, the fruit kind of tomatoes, they look nice, they look red, they look like the tomato you would enjoy as a snack while you were watching a TV show or listening to a round table. But I was told that they tried so many times and they realized if the temperature in the greenhouse is around 8 degrees Celsius, they won't grow. They'll stay green and just stay like that. But if they raise the temperature up only 2 degrees Celsius, they will thrive. And these details are all coming from real practice, real experience, and experiment day after day. So I don't think it's a miracle. I don't think it's high advanced technology introduced to a place and suddenly change everything. It is the dedication and hard work of local people as well as people all around the country to come and help.
You mentioned somebody from Shandong province who actually, Shandong, by the way, in China is known for being able to grow very tasty vegetables and fruits in great quantity. And some of these folks in Shandong just decided to take this mission to Tibet and grow equally tasty fruits.
Tastier. The grapes are so sweet.
I haven't had a chance to try yet.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I was like, want to
show it to the viewers.
Is it some kind of melon? I think it's called.
Do you want to have a taste?
Yeah.
You would know.
I'm gonna bite it.
I think
You
it's a
will
date.
know instantly.
Is it a date?
Take a guess, you know.
Wow, this is a giant date.
Take a bite.
Take a bite.
Is it a vegetable or
It's a
fruit?
vegetable.
It's kind of fruit/vegetable.
Because they actually try to cultivate different seedings for the vegetable to taste more fruity. It does not have a very strong scent of sweetness or something, but it tastes good. It's juicy. You can use it as a cold dish, sometimes even salad.
Okay, that's a clue there.
It's a clue.
That's
So should we just say it then?
Cucumber.
Really? This
Yeah,
is cucumber.
Is it called French cucumber?
French cucumber.
French cucumber.
That sounds really fancy.
Let me take a bite.
This is a very chubby cucumber.
They're cute.
So when you eat it, do you need to use your tongue? French cucumbers.
By the way, did you guys wash this before?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. It tastes really juicy.
Is this organic?
Yes.
Yes, cool.
Abundant sunlight, pollution-free soil, and a lot of love from people
Yeah, that's
growing
a
it.
secret ingredient.
Secret ingredient.
Can you imagine if we just transport all these fresh fruits and vegetables to Beijing? How much it can cost?
It doesn't make economic sense.
It will more be like how much would it cost to transport all this from Beijing to Tibet?
Yeah.
And that's what people used to do for decades. But now you just have this at home. You know, it's grown at the footstep of your home, and that means the cost will be brought down. And isn't that just great for people to have this great variety, choices, and at a reasonable price? Also, think about the farmers that have got involved with planting these fruits and vegetables, and you know what? This is a way to get yourself out of poverty. This is a way to make a living. And like I've watched Nyo's live streams and on Facebook, right?
Yes.
Care to mention what it is?
Okay, so if you want to watch some other live streams, actually you can find them on the same platforms. Roundtable special live streams are on. So there are the CRI Learn Chinese Facebook page, YouTube channel, and 英语环球广播微博, as well as all the platforms on CGTN, as well as China Plus Culture.
Exactly. And I saw Nyo testing these vegetables, talking to the local farmers who actually get involved, and the look on the face. That's all organic. And you can tell people really find great strength and confidence, as Leify likes to mention, to have found a living and a dependable one, reliable one. So this is also, I guess, one of those small changes as a society, but big changes for those individual families, that now you have these really juicy and strange-looking cucumber. Yeah.
It is very nice. I just took a bite.
Okay, I talked to 3 ladies who were cleaning the leaves of the cucumbers in the greenhouse.
Cleaning the leaves. What do you mean by that?
Because the leaves are growing really large and they will disrupt the growing process of the cucumbers. And so they'll cut the leaves,
Trim them a little bit.
Yeah, trim them a little bit every 8 days to make sure the cucumbers can grow.
They're very nice ladies,
Yeah,
because I couldn't get the cucumber out. I was trying to pick one from the plant itself. I couldn't get it out, and the ladies helped me. They're very nice ladies.
Yeah, they're really
they don't really speak a lot of Mandarin.
Oh,
but
they do.
Some of them do,
Yeah.
but I think some of other farmers don't
really
speak
shy.
Mandarin so well. And when that happens, when their boss is giving them a meeting or something, he actually would have his personal translator translating Mandarin to Tibetan.
Another question, I'm really curious about this. So for the cucumber leaves, right, can we use that, like the cucumber leaves, for cooking? Like put into a stir-fry dish or into the soup or broth?
I don't think so. It's really thorny. You know, it hurts when you touch it with your bare hands. They're wearing gloves to cut the leaves.
Use it as decoration.
You can cook pumpkin leaves, and what else? Pea leaves, is it?
You can cook
Potato leaves,
Potato
You can cook the cucumber flowers. You know, the
and
yellow
even
flowers.
radish leaves.
Oh
Very tasteful. But I'm not sure about cucumber leaves.
Yeah, and also I can't be presenting this table of delicacies to you without pointing out these grapes. Are they the Qinghong grapes, or
They are.
What type are they? Because there's extra extra sweet and juicy. And this is something that I heard from everyone. I haven't had a chance to try yet, but I take your word for it. Okay, so I'm going to chew on this. If you hear me, that little munchy noise is me chewing on grapes. So tell us a little bit more about, are they as good as they've been sold?
They're called sunlight rose. 阳光玫瑰. Yes, because there is the after flavor shows you a little bit of rosy, and when you start chewing on it, it's really juicy. Explode in your mouth. It's a little bit sour for now because it's not the best season yet. I mean, when it comes when it comes to the best season for different vegetables, I think Tibet is so cool on this because every season can be the best season for one type of fruit or vegetables. But for this one, I think if you give it a little more time, it'll taste even sweeter. But I recommend the other one.
Yeah, just the regular,
really sweet.
one regular grape.
Can I try one?
Yeah, go for it. I think it's just.
I'm not really
sure.
I think it's just regular.
It's been overshined by the sunlight rosy ones.
Very nice. Explode in your mouth.
Is becoming very popular these years. I think I get to know this from last year, and my son would not eat any other grapes except for this one, and really cost me a lot of money.
Children has good taste. Best taste.
Very good. And the melons look great, but there are two types. One is kind of like cantaloupes. The other one's more of the type that I would have in Beijing, actually.
Kind of.
Yang jiao mi. Sweet sheep horn.
It's only about the looking, not the taste.
Yeah, because it's really long. It looks like a horn of a sheep.
Probably.
And actually, did we mention that Nyo brought all of this to us to present? Okay, sorry. Brought it to showcase, all these amazing fruits and fruits, right? Well, unless you call this vegetables, take your pick. And on round table. So why did you guys bring those two types of melons out of, the varieties out there?
We talked about the best times of a certain fruit, and I think for those melons, it is the best time to harvest. And the reason we brought them here is actually because we got them freshly from the greenhouse. So you can't get them more fresh. It's not possible because they were harvested this morning. And for this one, for example,
what is that?
Yeah, I know you guys don't know it.
Take a guess.
Take a guess.
It's not a mango.
It's not a mango.
I think I had it once. But I can't remember what it is.
What is that?
I don't even know.
It looks like the cucumber.
Yeah, I know.
But a little bit yellower.
It's like the French cucumber's cousin.
So the cousin is actually very Chinese because the cousin's name is Jingsun Fruit.
Is that the fruit Monkey King loves to eat?
We've all watched the 1987 version of Going to the West. And I remember vividly at the TV show, 人参果 looked like a little person.
Yeah.
If you put it in a mold and just grain it, it will look like a little person.
Oh, is that why?
Sad, disappointed.
And he has been punished for eating this.
You can eat it as much as you want without being punished. Yes. So I think.
So does it taste really nice, or?
This one is interesting because the reason it's called Jingsun Fruit is because ginseng is a traditional herbal medicine here in China, and it's very nutritious, good for your immune system. But for this one, it is also very nutritious, but it doesn't really taste very, how do I say it, strong. It has a very plain and mild taste, and that is why people don't like it. But we know they're nutritious, want to do the right thing, so we try some. But the thing is, when it comes to Tibet, because of the strong sunlight and the temperature difference between the morning and the night,
so it can be sweet.
It can be sweet, and this one is actually sweet.
Very nice. So now you have a pretty good idea of the amazing fruit and vegetables that Tibetan people now have on their dinner table, or have a snack, or whatever they do, they can enjoy them. And you're listening to Roundtable, also watching us on CGTN platforms, Facebook, Weibo at 英语环球广播, or leave us a message on our podcast on Apple Podcast at Roundtable China, and we will be back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Roundtable's special series, Railway Trippin Tibetan Style. I am He Yang. Roundtable has never expanded to this size. It is massive today. But we have great people on the show. Lai Ming and Huang Shen, Fei Fei and Niu Niu. So we have 5 people on today's roundtable. If we are serious about the size and the shape of the table, actually we could be sitting in a circle. But then you'd be seeing the backheads of some of our lovely people on the show, so we would do that. And yes, we've had a little bit more munching on of these fruits and vegetables during the break, and Lyman mentioned something interesting. As you have been hanging out with yaks, sheep, cattle, and other husbandry animals, right?
Yeah. Earlier today, while Niu Hongling, Niu, and Fei Fei were at the vegetable base, I went to a different location, which is a highlight ranch owned by Xigaze by Yangcheng Agricultural Products Process Corporation Limited. And
Limited.
That's a mouthful. You know what else is a mouthful?
What is that?
It's like magic.
This is a sheep shank that I brought back from that ranch.
And Lemmy puts it in his mouth.
This is a mouth.
Without offering to anyone.
You don't want to share?
Seriously?
You guys can pass this along.
How do you share a ginormous lamb shank? Let us know. How do you physically do that?
I cannot believe I'm doing it on round table. Like the shank's shape looks like this.
Yes,
Like a little pole.
No.
So I'll take
Do you want some?
Yeah.
You guys are passing and enjoying this sheep shank.
Can I just bite it?
You can, or you can pass it on.
Actually.
So, what does it taste like?
It tastes like sheep shank.
Huge.
Very meaty.
Good sheep shank, yeah.
So this is already cooked and then vacuumed, put into a little vacuumed parcel, and then it's laminated. And for anybody, okay, now I get to hold on to
It's like a torch.
Shank.
the
Pass it on.
shank.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Can I have some tissue?
Oh, yes. Go ahead. I wouldn't
Pass it on.
pass sheep shank without
It's like
getting
me
tissues ready.
holding a torch that I don't know what to do with. Can I give it back to you guys?
You can host an Olympic.
So
I went to that ranch. I'll make sure.
Oh, that's how you eat it.
Yeah, I'll make sure I finished it. So never mind. So that was a highlight ranch. They had sheep, thousands of sheep.
Okay.
But that's not their specialty. Of course, that is their specialty. But what's most special about that ranch is that they raise yaks there. We know yaks. They are wild animals. They range freely on the grasslands, mostly on the plateau, more than 3,000 meters above sea level. So they eat the grass, they drink the water from the river and from the lakes. So that makes them very wild and untamed. So it's a challenge for any herdsman to try and tame the yaks, let alone raising them on a massive level. So as I was there, I had some interactions with the yaks at that ranch. So I was trying to, I had some grass, some dry grass, some feed, trying to really feed them. I had been to farmlands many times before. The cattle, they always appeared tame and mild and what's the word?
Gentle.
Inviting.
Sweet. Oh,
Inviting.
So when you show them feed, they will come over and be nice to you. But the yaks, they are rebellious. They run away.
Is it because they cannot do eye contact? Because of the fur?
Maybe not that.
Just like a cat.
Yeah, I got big eyes, and when I do eye contact, I mean, they should be able to really establish that connection. But no, they run away. So yaks, they are born free and wild. But so at this ranch, they try and tame them. And the manager told me that it takes them 2 weeks for them to get adapted to the feed and also to the environment and the water. And they have to make sure that everything is clean, both the feed and the water that's being fed to the yaks. So that's one thing, very special. I believe this is a yak jerky.
Ooh.
Very delicious. And may I?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just unpack this yak meat from this vacuum plastic bag. There you go. Take a bite. I certainly enjoyed it. Okay. What else? What more? I said it was more interesting, but what is more interesting at this ranch is that they have a special breed of cattle. They try and breed cattle, regular cattle, and yaks to create a new breed. But after that, this new breed again copulates with Angus cattle, so that makes them huge and also docile. I mentioned earlier, yaks are very hard to tame, and they also don't yield a lot of meat. They could easily grow to about 300 kilograms, and that's it. No, the fattest ones would be 400, but with this hybrid, with this breeding process, this new breed of cattle, they can go to 500, 600 kilograms when they're ready. So, and also they grow very fast. They are more acceptive to the feed that we prepare for them, that human beings prepare for them. So that's something that I shared. And what was even more special about the ranch is that they are sort of a pioneer in the local region.
Wow.
I said that they have thousands and thousands of sheep there. What's special about them is they have introduced the technique of feeding feed to the sheep. Whereas in comparison, the local herdsmen, they look at a sheep and say, what's the point of feeding them? They eat grass. So after this, I mean, with this this company setting up shop here and really setting up a good example for the husband in the region, it is really encouraging the local farmers and also animal farmers to follow the lead, and therefore there's bigger yield, there's more income. That's that.
When it comes to that, I'm actually curious because we talked a lot about the vegetable base already, but there's one tiny little thing that I think corresponds with your travel in the morning. That is, they have this base plus leading corporations plus cooperative plus the poverty-stricken households. So with this kind of model, I'm not really sure if that's the same model for you there, but this is a good way for them to expand their business as well as help people lift themselves out of poverty. So pretty cool.
This cooperative thing, I mean, I used to take it for granted. I mean, because I grew up in the village, and every morning all of the cattle in the village will be herded out to the wild to eat grass, and in the evening they'll come back. There will be one person in charge of all the cattle, and I think this should be something that every village is doing. But in fact, in this part of the region, and perhaps in most part of northern China, this is not doable. In the sense that maybe in my humble small village, each household might have one cattle or two, and that makes about 20, 30 cattle in a herd. So it's very easy for one person to take charge. Whereas in comparison, for people, herdsmen particularly in this region, it's very easy for them to have hundreds of cattle. So every household has to assign one person, at least one, to herd the cattle when they're out there. But now with this new cooperative, they make sure that for the entire cooperative, all the households in there, they only have to assign about five, depending on the size of the cooperative, about 5 people to make sure that the cattle don't wander away as they graze in the grassland. So that really saves a lot of manpower compared to the previous arrangement where each household has to assign at least one person to take charge.
There's strength in numbers, but you have to use the strength cleverly.
And that's also, I think, traditional farming moving towards more of a modern form of farming, and that means increase in efficiency, productivity, and also I would think that, as a country develops to a certain stage, there would be more concern about animal welfare as well. And all I'm thinking about is I hope the yaks, they get to stretch their legs and wander around a little bit, and also considering that raising cattle actually means that the methane that it produces goes straight to greenhouse gas, and that's something that we're trying to cut as well. So I think this is all very interesting in the sense that there is a delicate balance that needs to be stricken, and this is something that I think local people, the governments, and all those parties involved are constantly sort of trying to find that sweet spot, and that's something we talk about on the show too, because when you look deeper into these issues, nothing is easy, and that's also, I think, the fun part of using your brain power to try to figure out what is really important here. Hello, Nyo-Nyo.
I have an inappropriate question, because I wonder, you were in a ranch. Does it smell really good?
No, it doesn't. Certainly not as good as vegetable base.
But
They also don't taste as good because they are alive.
But I think actually isn't cattle dump or cow dump yak dung.
Yeah.
It's a very important part of Tibetan culture.
Yes, it is. Because traditionally, Tibetan people, Tibetan herdsmen especially, they raise a lot of yaks, and naturally, the yak dung will become a very important part for their life, for heating, for cooking, and even for housemaking at some point.
What?
Yeah, but mostly for heating and cooking. So I learned that because there is a children's picture book called The Story of the Yak Dung, which basically says how a yak dung is utilized in Tibetan people's daily life. And I'm wondering if that cattle farm you've been to, they produce a lot of dung naturally, and
they do have arrangement to recycle the yak dung or sheep dung to make better use of it.
Yeah, because in Mongolia, where I'm from, Mongolian also will utilize a lot of the cattle dungs. When you go to the grassland, you will step into many of the dread piles or piles of dung.
Yeah, I had that experience.
So when you go to grassland, you think it's romantic. The starlight, the grasses, camping. But among those grasses, there are cattle dungs and yak dungs hidden inside, so be careful. But they're very practical. Yeah, they're very important. A lot of the herdsmen told me they're clean. The dungs are clean. You pick them and you put them back to the house, and you burn them for heating and for cooking, and the milk tea cooked by the yak dung is delicious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I want to offer an Easter egg here.
Easter egg?
Yes, because when we were filming the episode for Ningchi, we were at a highland ranch, and do you know how our cameraman, they're so creative, and can you take a guess, for Nyo-Nyo and Fei-Fei, do you know how they utilize the yak dung?
They certainly didn't need it.
Yes. It's not so cold, right? Yeah. You don't really need.
I don't think you can burn. Did you use it as a stove?
Naturally, the solid and dried yak dung. Do you know what they use that for? Our very smart cameraman use it to support the camera. Yeah, you get it as a bingo. They use that they use that to support the cameras, and so they just naturally turn it into a stabilizer for the cameras.
So we're actually tripping Tibetan style.
Yes, this is a real Tibetan style, which is a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Cow dung is a very important resource in most parts where resources is scarce. Not just in northern China where there are a lot of cows or cattle or horses. In my humble hometown, actually my grandfather's hometown, when I was young, we used to travel back there to see the relatives, distant relatives. And one distinctive memory about it was in the early 1990s, they used to put cow dung on the facade of the house. Kind of like, the ancient city walls, they have a gate, and there are bronze and copper what do you call them, nails? We say the tongding. So it looks just like that. You got cow dung.
Decoration or keep it warm?
Well, they put it on the wall so they dry, and when they're dry, they burn it.
So they take it off to burn it?
And when they cook, they use the cow dung.
So it's purely organic, obviously, and it's all natural. So
it's all grass.
So I guess
like
there is
bamboo dung. No, sorry, like panda dung.
Ooh.
All grass.
Okay.
Yeah, all grass, all bamboo.
Yak is truly the treasure of the nomads. You know, everything it has, it can be useful for
You can use the skin you can use the fur to decorate the roof. You can use the skin to make a boat.
Yeah, I saw that boat.
Using the yak hide to put up a boat, that kind of thing. But also, you know, every time when I stare into the eyes of a yak, it just makes me want to cry.
Very gentle animal.
Yeah, and I'm so surprised that, I mean, you said that they're actually quite not so docile. Yeah, because the other story I read from this Tibetan poet said that yaks are extremely loyal and they will fight your enemy to its last drop of blood. Sorry to get bloody here. And but it forever sort of holds its loyalty with you, and just because you raise it. And you know, just with these poems, it just makes me feel extremely sentimental. And well, but given the fact that I'm somebody who would cry watching the Transformers, so you know, just take the face value of it for it. All right. Okay. And you mentioned, Feifei, that we've been to Ningxi and now Xigaze and also Lhasa, and these are major cities in Tibet, and they've all, I think, grown so modernized that it surprised all of us.
Yes.
And now with the railway system in place and also highway system in place, in the future, is it possible that folks are going to sort of live in one city or work in another?
Well, maybe in the future, yes, it's possible, because one of the goals of the local government is actually for people in Lhasa and Xigaze to be able to transport within 3 hours by car. So they're building these highways, expressway, or connecting Lhasa and Xigaze, and the sections, they're completing section by section at the moment, and so their goal is, I think, by 2025. So for people in Lhasa, they can travel to Xigaze or Ningxi within 3 hours.
That's going to be a significant improvement.
Yeah.
We certainly took the train here, and it took us 2 hours and 2.5 hours.
Yes.
So that was relatively quick.
Yeah.
I've been Xigaze once before, and we took the bus. It took us about 6 hours, at least 6 hours.
5.5, perhaps.
Because we stopped by the Yangzhuo Yongcuo Lake, which is one of the 3 holy lakes in Tibet.
Yes. And I think also a lot of people in Lhasa is working in Xigaze or vice versa, so it would be nice for them to be able to, you know, come home over the weekends or go to work, you know, very easily. It sort of reminds me of how Shanghai and Guangdong are working at the moment. It's like people working in Shanghai are actually living in another city, in Quanzhou or Suzhou. They can simply take the highway, high-speed train, and I think the travel time would be like less than 1 hour. So I think the goal is something like that.
Some of our colleagues are actually living in Tianjin, working in
in Beijing.
Yeah. So yeah, that will happen, and perhaps people can appreciate different lifestyle as well when they're working in one city and live in another.
Yes, that will be more easy and convenient. And I think at the same time we have experienced a bit of the urban life here in Xigaze, like order and takeout on the YMI application.
Food delivery. I just ordered food delivery. this for the lunch today, and I order from a fast food chain, and it's very convenient, and also take about 30 to 40 minutes, and for you to get all your deliveries. So it's super convenient, just like living in other cities in the country.
And to think before we depart from Beijing, we fear that maybe the infrastructure, particularly the internet infrastructure, isn't going to be as good as it is in Beijing. I even made a trip to the bank to withdraw some cash.
Me too.
But then I never got to use it. I never got to use the cash.
The only time you need to use it is like a piece of the 50 yuan note, and you have to present it in front of Potala Palace to take a photo with it and post on your WeChat moments, I guess.
Why is that?
Because on that particular note, the cash note, and they used the graph of the Potala Palace as part of the content on the note. So many people, this is a very popular trend. You have to present and place the note like this, and with the Potala Palace at the backdrop. So it's an amazing picture. Yeah.
Do you have to be a part of the picture, or
No.
you're just simply taking a photo?
No, you're not important in front of the majesty of Potala Palace.
But then how is it
We're so small.
But then how is it any different from the picture taken by anybody else?
It's your picture, your
Location.
eyes, and your love.
Yeah,
And you post it on your social media.
Location.
It's not my picture unless I'm in there.
Add a location, attach location to your photo.
It's like here we are in Xigaze. We're around 300 kilometers from Cumulama. I'm not looking at it with my bare eyes, but with my naked eyes.
Yeah.
But I feel really close to it.
Yeah. And there are many reasons that you have to visit this this amazing city. It's religious, and also it's very mysterious. And because I think for many people, they say that the location of Xigaze is very unique because it is on the route from Lhasa to Mount Chumulongma. And for many hikers, no matter amateur or experienced hikers, I think this is their lifelong dream to get a closer look at the Mount Chumulongma. But you know what? No matter you're amateur or experienced hiker, we are not allowed, or we are not encouraged to climb the mountain. One thing is to protect the ecosystem out there, and also we don't want any hikers to put their life at risk. But you have a second choice. You can visit the Mount Chumulongma, the Chumulongma National Park, and you can get a glimpse of how it looks like, because Chumulongma is a place where men can challenge their limitations, and it's a place that you can conquer your fears. But instead of conquer the nature, we want everyone to respect the nature. And this is the pride of Xigaze, is on the footstep of the Chumulongma. And if you just visit the Chumulongma National Park, and there are lots of things you can do here. Like you can enjoy the stargazing and at night, and also you can experience the living conditions and the lifestyle of mountaineers such as the Sherpas. And the other things that you can get a real look at the Chumulongma. That's many people's dream, including myself.
I think you're planning our next business trip. Tibet.
And also I heard the base camp to the Chumulongma have been moved back a couple of kilometers.
So basically the national park just give you a real experience of living or staying at the base camp of Chumulongma, so which is amazing. Also it's within the area that we won't pose any threats to the nature, to the Mount Chumulongma.
That makes sense. Not everybody is physically equipped to challenge the highest peak on this planet.
Never going to do that. Ever. I'm already suffering from this severe cold. Like I feel my lungs are occupied by something that shouldn't be there, and I'm still panting when I'm talking, and I would really like to lay down if we weren't doing this show, so I'll straighten up a little bit. So yeah, I will never be up for that challenge. I think this is the limit for me, and sometimes I think it's wise to know your limits.
Yes, and actually I think the ecosystem here in Tibet is also very vulnerable. We do not want to make sudden changes or drastic changes, not if we are climbing the mountains or not, we are introducing new species or we are hurting a little bit too much. We do not want to do any of that. It's a beautiful place. It's a very natural place. Really, the less disturbed by human kind of place, and we'd like to keep it that way.
And also, I think the plateau is the source of 3 major rivers in Asia, right? So when I interviewed some experts before our trip, he actually told me the glaciers on the plateau are melting really fast.
And they're getting more and more rains every year, starting from the mid or the early 2010s.
And also with the melt of the glaciers, one thing is really shivers is about the unknown virus hidden inside of the glacier. And with them melting, you're not sure what kind of viruses are leaching out now in the nature.
And so my poor polar bears.
So so it's I think again we've talked about global warming before, but it's a real issue if you come to the plateau and you're seeing how it's changing. The landscape is getting greener, of course. It's beautiful, of course, but it doesn't mean it's a good thing altogether.
Yeah, because of the inclement weather here in the plateau, it is really hard for the ecosystem to replenish itself once it's being damaged, which is why it's top priority for the region to pay attention to ecological protection, even as they pursue businesses such as vegetable bases and animal farming.
As well as infrastructure construction, they're still taking really good care of the environment and taking things into consideration. But there's one tiny thing I'd like to mention here on that note. Of course, protecting the environment is very important, and we are actually doing a really good job. But there is this somehow maybe not common impression that Tibet is this untouched place. People living here should be living a idyllic kind of life. They should grow things and eat what they grow. They should not be having commercialized society. They should not be attached to any materialized stuff. They should live without electricity, without clean water, without maybe Wi-Fi to watch this amazing show, Brown Table. They should just live this, simple life, and that's how we preserve this important culture. That's not a culture. That's just
somebody's fantasy.
Exactly. So I think,
and also that's in line with the philosophy of Buddhism. We need to reach a balance.
Exactly. The strike a balance is the key here.
And one important note: the things they can grow, only Highland barley. No vegetables, no fruits, nothing else. Highland barley, some maize, some corn, that's the things they can grow here. So imagine if
I don't want my lovely friends in Tibet to live like that.
Exactly. We want them to have, greener, healthier life.
Yes.
Also, does anybody ask what do the local people want? They need to live, and everybody wants to live in a better condition. I think that's something everybody can relate to, unless some of us are so spoiled, with the air conditioner in every room, or have a central air conditioning that heats or cools down every room. And then when you're used to that and you think, oh, I want certain people to live a certain kind of lifestyle, and I think that's poetic and idyllic, but actually in real life the local people probably don't really want that. They also want the heating, the comfortable lifestyle, that kind of thing. So I think, this trip has taught us a lot. Because, when you're doing a show in a studio, or when you're watching a show at home, comfy, well lit, with air conditioning, then you miss out, I think, a lot of the really crucial points in life, and that actually takes you to get out there, like in Tibet, doing our railway Trippin in Tibetan style. Do we get a better understanding of people's livelihoods here and how things sort of shake out? And I'm just feeling like I'm learning something every day, and it's so amazing to have you guys here with me to share your thoughts. And yes, Roundtable is doing the video streaming too, so don't forget to check us out on all the CGTN platforms, on Facebook, on 英语环球广播 on our Weibo, and also podcast. You never miss the show on the Apple Podcast at Roundtable China. If you like what you see, what you hear, leave us a message. Let us know what you think. I'm He Yang. Thank you so much, Lai Ming, Huang Shen, Niu Niu, and Fei Fei for being here. And you guys have a beautiful day. We will see you again on Roundtable.